Hello ladies, welcome to my channel. My name is Edna Alvarado and today I am going to be playing with a mold. I'm not sure if this one's from Surrey or where I got it from, but I've had it for quite some time and it's very pretty. I have 3 different molds here, but this procedure that I'm going to be teaching you today, you're going to be able to use um, fondant molds and like these that have the lacy, and this one and the item that I'm going to be using today, it's called ElastoPatch, and it's a compound, to work in the home. It's a flexible compound that you could use whenever you're finishing up um, walls and things in your home, but because when it dries it turns into plastic, we can use it on our fondant molds or our doily molds. I have this one. I got this one, I believe it was on Etsy. This one I've had for quite some time. This one I got it on Etsy, and this one I've had for quite some time. But if you're looking for the kind of lacy look, this would be the compound to work with. I'm also going to be doing possibly later on. I have this one just as well. I believe I got this one on Temu. I'm not sure. I accumulate crafts and things for a while, and you more than likely are going to be able to use it just as well on these kind of decor molds to create snowflakes or whatever. This one, I recently bought it. As you can see, I haven't used it yet. You can use molds like this. I try to keep them in their packaging so that way they stay nice and soft. But it really, um, it's up to you how you want to store them. I have them stored some in a plastic bag with a zipper. But I want to show you some of the things that I've made with the Elasto um, patch, and I created from one of the fondant molds this lacy looking beautiful plastic. Don't pull and tug on it, but if you want to use it to decorate a card or possibly a Christmas ornament like I had shown in our group, and I'm going to put a thumbnail so you can get an idea of what it looks like once I've cut it. I've made a couple of doilies, very pliable, and they're flexible and they're made out of plastic. Yeah, don't pull and tug on them really hard because they are going to break. This is the fondant mold that I used, and what I did to put it on the ornament was I cut it just like if you would cut lace, and then placed it on my ornament that you see on my thumbnail. And I have posted in our group, Anything and Everything Christian Craft Group. This is another one that I had made, and as you can see, when you get up close, and this is going to happen to you, it's up to you if you want to fix it. You can either with a pokey tool or with your nail. Once your Plasto Flex is dry, you can make the openings. But if you're going to put it against another white surface, it really doesn't matter if it has the thin layer like this one does in some spaces. Here I had made some more of that, and I keep it in a plastic container so it doesn't get ruined. And I have another mold in here, and as you can see, this is what I'm talking about, the thin layer when you're putting it inside your mold. Depending on how much you scrape off of it, you may have that, but it's really entirely up to you how you want to do it. I figured it gives it some character having some Uh, in some places it was thinner, so my layer was thinner, so you didn't get any buildup in the back. But I want to leave this one exactly as it is because I'm going to be using it in something that it really doesn't matter. The color in the background, you're not going to be able to see it. When I was dismolding it, as you can see, it broke a little, but when you glue it together, you cannot barely see where it rips. So, you have to be gentle with these. Depending on the depth of your mold, it can either be thicker or it can be thinner. I'm gonna put these away. Just wanted to show you that. And you can save these little pieces that are left over and you could use them to craft just like you would if you were using paper scraps. You can add it to anything for any decor. I like playing with mixed media and shabby chic, so I can go ahead and use those pieces. I love this specific fondant mold that I've had. I don't know. I think there may be another one. I'm in the process of, if I find it, I'm going to buy another one. But that way, this is the length that you would get on that fondant mold. Okay, and I folded it in half. I'm keeping it in my little plastic container. And I wanted to show you the ornament, but at this point in time, I don't have it in front of me, but you will see it in my thumbnail. Like I said, I'm going to put these away. I just wanted to give you an idea. And I'm also in the process of creating or mixing a home batch of plastic to play with. This ElastoPatch, you can find it in Amazon. You can find it possibly at Lowe's. Let me see, what's another one? Home Depot. Um, Maybe if you're familiar with the stores Menards, they may have, not necessarily this brand, but they may have something similar that does turn into plastic. Key for you is please make sure that when you close and you're done using your plastic compound, that it is very tightly sealed. Otherwise it will get hard and crusty. Okay, like I have some little crust on the edges here, but I just want to show you real quick how to apply this and how it has worked for me. I am not an expert. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I keep my tools and my elastoplastic together, so that way, whenever I feel like creating some, I can find it right away. I have a habit of putting things in a safe place, and that safe place, it takes me months to find it all over again. So I try to keep my tools in a plastic container. You can use a spatula like this. You can use one of these. I prefer to use something like this. Um, and maybe to finish it off so it's even in the back, I can use one of these. I just got these. I'm ready to give it a try. They are kind of hard. They're good to play with mixed media and anything that you're going to be applying on something that you want it to be pretty much straight. You're going to be able to see possibly a little bit of the mold. The one thing that I always like to do is once I'm done, I like to make sure that my molds are clean and they don't have any leftover residue. That's very, very important. I put the white piece here so this way you can get an idea. I know it's not very visible, but once I start applying it and you see the process, you'll get the hang of it. I do have this uncovered. I don't like to keep it uncovered for a long period of time. But you do need to prep your molds. And the one thing that I have is I put cornstarch powder in one of these little containers. I just spilled some over here. I didn't close it tightly enough. You know, cornstarch powder can get pretty much just about into anything because it's very, very fine. I've never tried to use baby powder. Cornstarch is always my first go-to uh, to use. And of course, you're going to need a very soft brush, makeup brush. And what I do is I take my mold and I treat it with the cornstarch. In other words, I try to get it into the crevices, and as you can see, you're starting to see the design. And I just bring it from the container. Some days my hands are extremely shaky and it's unavoidable. I do have my table protected, even though that my underneath is a glass. You can do this on glass because once the compound dries up, it's gonna lift from your glass. But I don't like to be continuously cleaning it. You know, I do clean it with alcohol, and in the meantime, I am prepping my mold, like I said, with just a little bit of cornstarch. I'm having a shaky day today, so I'm going to try to lift some of this and bring it right back into the container. It looks like I made it worse. It's not as messy as it seems. The problem is my hands. And once I've done that, I just make sure that is back the excess into the container. I will wipe it off later, so then that way I don't have this mess here. And that's one of the reasons why I like to go ahead and protect my table so it doesn't get dusty everywhere. Once I've done that, I'm going to set my brush aside, and what I do is I pat my mold down a little against my hands and try to get the excess but still have powder on my mold. I put my finger on it right there. Okay, so you can see it. The cornstarch is going to help you demold. I'm not going to be able to demold this right now. I will stop the video and bring it back 24 hours later so you can see me demolding within 24 hours. So what I do is I just get my compound, I put it on my spatula. I start with a very not excessive amount, but enough that I can bring it around the surface that I am working on, and I try to spread it evenly. If you want to get the effect of openings, you want to make sure that your layer is very, very thin. But keep in mind that when you do that and you're demolding, if your layer is too thin, it may rip a little. But the good part about this plastic compound is that it seems to work fine once you lay it on a surface. Um, it sort of kind of like joins together. But you work it as you may see fit. You can make it light, you can make it thicker. The idea is to try to keep your whole mold completely attached. If I want to get the edges there on top, I'm just like scraping it a little bit more. But especially in the center of this one, as you can see, it may be a separate, it's not connected, and you can either use it as a second surface to add to your project, or you could just make it dark or heavier weight and just have the impression of the mold. I've been scraping it from side to side. In this case, it may be joined, then again, it may not. We will find out when I demold this within 24 hours. And you want to make sure, if you're going to apply it on an ornament or a flat surface, you want to make sure that your backing, which would be what the surface that I'm working on now, that it is flat and even, because otherwise you're going to have bumps and gaps in your work surface. It depends on how finicky you are, or how perfect you want to do this. um, I'm trying this mold for the first time. I've done it on fondant molds, like I said, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make it a little bit, I guess, sort of kind of thicker. Pretty much, I am done with this mold. I'm going to wipe off my spatula, and I'm going to give this a try. And how I'm going to do this is, work it one way and one way only. I'm going to scrape. I'm not a baker. I have fondant molds because my niece, and you could wipe this back up into your jar. Um, my niece used to bake cakes, and I'm a lace person, and a lot of the laces that would show up in these molds I loved, and I was trying to figure out, there's got to be a way for me to do this. And as you can see, I use my little scraper because it's made out of a hard surface plastic. I can throw this in a bucket of water. I can do the same thing with my applying spatula, and um, let it sit or let it dry. If you let it dry, you will be able to peel it off just as long as this is silicone. This one, since it's the first time I'm using it, it is sort of kind of plastic. It may or may not come off, so I am going to be soaking this. Um, you do want to make sure that, you don't soak it in the water and try to get as much as you can, and maybe flush it down the toilet. Don't flush it down your sink, because I don't know. I haven't tried it, but usually I try to wash off as much as I can and dilute it in the water, and I flush it down the toilet. But as you can see, I'm gonna bring it up close, and I'm sorry my hands are shaky. Let me anchor my elbows, and you can see the design. But when I demold this, you're going to see the other side, but you see it's all nice and flat. I could make this a little bit thinner to show more of the design, but I'm choosing not to. I want to keep it that way. And I will come back tomorrow. I'm going to let it sit for 24 hours, and then I'm going to demold, so then that way you can see what the pattern looks like tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back.